All right, everybody, welcome back to another exciting edition of Two Bellinis. I am one Bellini. I'm Bridget, and this is my co-host and best friend.
Susan Bellini number two.
There you go, girl. We're wrapping up August because we have not rendezvoused for a while. We've both had
Yeah.
a lot going on, which got us to thinking the things that kept us away from the program are family dynamics.
Yes.
And so we were talking earlier about what are family dynamics and how can they what challenges do they pose in helping to care for our elders and ourselves. So Sue, why don't you tell us what in your
Oh,
like what are family dynamics? If you were gonna define that for somebody, what would that look like?
in general.
Yeah, in general.
uh,
Let's start with that.
Family dynamics. I think that's a hard one because part of me feels like you're at a circus with a bag of popcorn, and then the other part of me feels like um, you're in such a loving situation and a loving, like around the campfire kind of coziness. It's very complicated. It's
Yeah,
got, I think
it's
it's
so
got a
it's
lot of
about
sides to it.
what I'm
That's not a
hearing.
good example, but I don't know.
I think it's a great example. And what I was going to say is it sounds like it's both those things.
It is. I think you have to figure out like how you all mesh together and how you're going to handle things and deal with each other with your different personalities because we're also different, even from the same families. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, and you've got
Yeah.
to figure out how to control the, as I always say, the circus, or maybe like herd your squirrels sometimes. So we're all functional. I'm a bit more of a
I think
smartass
that
about
could
it,
be the end of the
obviously.
show because that's it. Everybody listening is going to know exactly who their squirrels are.
That was a total smartass, and I apologize. I was not very
No,
serious at all about that.
it's no, I think that's great because it's true. First of all, we're very light on this show. It couldn't have been said any better because
You. Well, you'll
it
say it
got
better.
it got me to thinking when I look at my nieces and nephews, when I look at my brothers and sisters, your brothers and sisters, every single family has its own circus type cadence, right?
Yeah.
There are people in need, there are doers, there are givers, there are people who are uncertain and insecure, and it
Got
is
the ringmaster, right? You've got your ringmaster. You've
sure.
right, like someone's serving, someone might be, a little more busy and flying on the trapeze, not be able to like merge in. But I mean, we all have our roles.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So that's really what today is about, in my opinion, is learning because I know I can only speak from experience that with the quick succession of death with my brothers, my sister, and my
yeah.
mom, the rest of my siblings and my dad and I had to rally and figure out how we would work together to not only shepherd them while they were sick
Yes.
and get them buried, but then how would we survive that together and how would we stay intact? And I mean, I have to give a huge shout out to my mom, as I always do, because
Right?
I she really taught us all that no, we are different. That's a very good thing. And there were eight of us. So I was the last of the eight. And
Hmm.
that differentiation is a very good and healthy thing. But in
Yeah.
crisis situations, it can be really challenging. And I know for myself, sometimes I was just exhausted and sometimes I felt resentful. And resentment left untreated can really fester into a toxic relationship.
Yes.
And so I've been very fortunate that my brothers and sisters all showed up. They
Yeah. So
all,
can I say something real quick about you on that matter? I'm just
yeah,
gonna jump in real quick because and I apologize, but I think from outside looking in on your side, and I know mine as well, but you had a different dynamic with the I hate to even say like it's so hard to even say the passing of so many loved ones so quickly, right? And you're right, you jumped in, but I think, and you're not alone in this because I did it. I think a lot of people do it, that we take on someone else's role that they were doing and we try so hard to make them proud and to do the best work, God's work, and do everything right. And in the process, we lose sight of how we should be doing it instead of trying to do it the way they did it. Like, right? Because I know that you took on a lot for your siblings. And I think you guys had to figure out where you fit in and how you could kind of pick up the slack a little bit. But I think sometimes we try so hard to make them proud and our parents who have passed proud that we forget it may not work that way for us. We have to do it the way that we can do it and give ourselves a little bit of grace. And I know you did such an amazing job, but I know you also felt a responsibility of making them proud as well, that you took over their spot in the family. You took over that position they were responsible for. And it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of emotional baggage.
It
On
is.
top of their passing, you're taking over trying to make things seamless for your family. And you took on a lot. You did a
Well,
beautiful job,
thank you
but you
for
took
that.
on a lot.
Thank you for
So,
that. I,
yeah.
I, I, I ditto for you, and I'll get to that in a second.
Mhm.
So I never, you give me far too much credit because honestly, I didn't, I, of all the people in my family, my role in the family, I am a neurotic mess who pretends like I'm okay, but I'm not. I'm a nervous, anxious mess. And I never, ever wanted to be responsible for another human being. Thank God I didn't have children because they would climb back into my uterus and they would stay in there until they're 30 and I'm dead. I
I'll
really,
send you mine too.
I never wanted that role. I was terrified of it. And the person that I think you're talking about is my brother Phil. When Phil died,
Yes.
because Phil did everything.
Phil did everything and you took that over, girl.
He took care of our mentally handicapped brother, he
Yeah.
took care of our mother and father, and when he was gone, the world fell apart. And
Yeah.
so there are two things that I had to consider. First and foremost, I just had to make sure that my parents were okay. And so I just shoved myself into that role. And my brothers and sisters were very gracious. They were
Yes.
always there to help, but they understood what a nervous wreck I was. And I
Right.
think I also found out I am highly organized and
You're very organized.
I can execute really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So I kept a separate calendar for my mother. I knew when she had to go to
Sorry.
radiation. I organized her radiation schedule to make sure one of us was with us. But all of that,
Lights. Sorry.
when my mother was finally gone, and then I had to move my father in with my husband and I, and that was a whole other level of holy fuck. I'm not cut out for this. And my dad's really easy. My dad's a very good
He's
soul.
so easy. I
I
mean, oh
just
my God. And
yeah, so
cool.
I've never like overtly resented any of my siblings. I'm very grateful to them. And now I don't regret a thing because this is my
Yeah.
role. This
Yeah.
is exactly who I was meant to be. This is
Mhm.
who I was meant to become, and I am
Mhm.
loving the time with my father.
Yes.
So
It's a gift.
I am very, very lucky that I have an extraordinary relationship with my brothers and sisters, and I'm grateful to them for everything. And I'm grateful that they didn't get mad at me for being such a bitch because I was just like, my mom had to go to the ER one day, and I was taking a week off back here in California, and one of my brothers was there, and he called me, and he's very good, but he has his role, and his role is not how I would do it. And so as a bitchy, like, neurotic woman, he calls me in the morning. He's like, Mom's got to go to the ER. I'm like, okay. He goes, well, I called the hospital and it's closed. And I'm like, hmm, a
I
closed,
don't think it's
a
shut down.
closed.
There'd be a lot of
Yeah. And
people.
I got on the internet. I found the number. I'm like, here's the number. Just take her where you need to take her. And he did it. And he sat with her all day and he was there 5 days after that. But it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Every family
Yeah.
has a doer,
Yeah.
and that doer needs to be very careful not to alienate the people who are there to make sure everything's okay. And
Yeah.
I didn't do a very good job of that. My siblings were very gracious with me. So for
You
that,
did a great job. I mean, of it. But
that's your
but I
job to say
know.
that.
I
And thank
mean,
you.
well, and I could I
So
could hear your mom.
how about you? How
I
about
can
the,
hear your mom right now.
I love
uh,
that.
our dynamics.
Only
Um,
if you want to talk about it. You can talk about it in general. Like, what are the
yeah.
important things to learn about sibling dynamics? And you mentioned that everybody has a role to play.
Yeah.
How do you get from like me, who's a neurotic, to say this is all this person can give? How do we put that person to work?
Well, this is another reason we're best friends is we're identical in this respect, right? I'm a controller, a bit of a control freak in me. And same thing, I'm that doer, but I'm more of an emotional doer sometimes, and I just want to jump in and get things done as well.
You're great at
So
triaging.
yeah,
You really are.
had practice.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's hard because you know me, I tend to think with my heart before my head. And so I kind of jump in and I become that doer. And then along the way, just start taking things over if my siblings aren't acting fast enough. So I think it's hard to navigate sometimes if you aren't honoring what they can give and when they can give it. And sometimes your siblings um, just don't want to give anything at all. And you have to be respectful of that.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know,
Absolutely.
sometimes the relationships are very different with our parents and siblings than maybe ours are.
Yeah.
And they might think that they're doing something, but in reality, it's just different, and you have to kind of honor that and let it go. And I was probably not great at that.
Neither
I'm
was.
better now at it, but
Oh, you're great at it now.
mm,
It's,
I'm
but
better now at it.
would
So
you agree that that's pretty much the case in every family? I mean, even
yes,
without a crisis, those
yes,
differences in siblings,
hmm
those personalities, it's
hmm
best to, when there isn't a crisis, to realize there's only so much people can give,
yeah.
only so much you can give. Boundaries are good, and
Boundaries are good.
realizing that each unique
Yeah,
personality has a role to play. Just don't let that divide, and to realize that before a crisis strikes, I
yeah.
think will serve people well. If you have a
Well,
problem with a sibling, do what you can to work it out and
yeah,
make it a good thing.
yeah. Hey, Tom. And sometimes I think we aren't given that luxury. You're just thrown into everything, and you realize, like both of us along the way, that sometimes some people are really great, like I said, in the triage, the beginning, the chaos. Some people are maybe great doing the backside of details. Maybe, like I said, it's that research, is those phone calls, is whatever. And other siblings are better after, sadly, sometimes the chaos or our loved ones have passed or things have just settled. And that's where they're comfortable in that role.
Yeah,
And I think it's hard for us to honor that because we don't want to think towards the end process. We want to live in the now and fix it and make it better and make it perfect. And I think we've both been through enough of it now that we kind of get that sometimes the ones in the shadows just need to be in the shadows until it's their time. And sometimes people don't want to be involved at all. They just want to be a part of the family, but they may not want to be involved in what's going on. And
right.
that's hard as well. It's hard to honor that, but that's who they are. So,
Yeah, and that's it's good to realize that. And sometimes, as you say, you and
yeah.
I both haven't realized that until after a sickness and a death.
Yeah.
And it's just like this is all that person can give.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you're
All
left
that
with,
person can
yeah.
give. And that's not to say, it also has to realize, just because I shoved myself into a caretaking role and an organizer, and I was essentially the chief of staff for both my parents at the time,
You were.
um, it's something I just took over. And I'm sure that also, I wish I could have my siblings on the show about it, and I may
Yeah.
do so in the future,
We should.
how they felt about it, right? How
Yeah.
they, they might have appreciated that I did that, but I'm sure I stepped on some toes, because if anybody opposed a schedule or anything I took time to plan, I mean,
Yeah.
I just dug in, and I was actually kind of a bitch. And I'm sure that wasn't
No,
good. No, I know that for a fact. And it's okay, because we tell the truth on the show. There's not a
that's
problem
okay.
with that. But I'm learning from that. And I think what I want to impart is that for people going through that, if you don't, as every family does, if you have
Yeah.
weird family dynamics with your siblings before a crisis strikes, do what you can to ease that between each other,
Right.
appreciate each other, because crisis will strike. You're not going to get out of that. And those crises have the ability to break up families.
Oh, it magnifies all of our little cracks and flaws and our irritations. And you're right. It does. It can definitely break a family. And I think, since we're being honest, and which I know we are, um, it was close with ours.
Mm,
I mean, at least with me, it was
yeah.
close with me and my older sister for sure.
Yeah,
And
sure.
it was it's put stress on myself and my father as well. Since then, not during my mom's passing, but now there's definitely a stress with my younger sister, my older sister, and our dad. Like my how things are being handled now in our dynamic. My
Right.
younger sister and myself are definitely having issues with the older sibling and how things are being handled, but we have to let him and be respectful of his process right now because he took care of my mom for so long and now he's in another caring role. And so we're having to learn again how to step back and navigate it without causing cracks with my father and my older sibling. And
Yeah.
that and it is, as you know, it's hard, but we're being respectful of that journey because it's not ours. It's his right now. We're just trying to be learning how to navigate it.
And I think that's really,
So,
that's so much has changed in your rhetoric since your mom's
yeah.
death and now a lot
Yeah.
has changed since your mom's death.
Yeah.
And that's a very good process that
Yes.
you understand there are ways that the world and families are.
Yes.
And your goal obviously is your father because you
Yeah.
are responsible for your dad.
Yeah.
And so's your sister.
Yeah.
And your older sister's brilliant. She's a brilliant girl. She's always carved her own path, but she has
Perfect gold, but yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. She just has her own way, but she has a
there's
separate
no way.
relationship with your father that you and your sister do not. And
Right.
you just have to keep an eye on that
Mhm.
you can't, your father's still independent. And
Right.
how old is he? 91, 92.
He's 90.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just about respecting the independence
Yeah.
while ensuring that he's not being harmed, not physically or
Yeah.
emotionally, but that, there's just
Right.
no harm going on there. So that's a delicate dance. I'm sorry.
It
I know that's
is.
hard.
And during my mom's passing, that's where I think our issue came into play was we were trying to do that delicate dance and I didn't want the focus to not be on my mom, as you know, and to not be on my brother who is physically handicapped. And
Yeah.
so there was a lot of dynamics that were happening that my younger sister and I were burnt out. But that's what you do for your loved ones, right? And so we're trying to navigate that in a way that did not upset my father or do whatever, but it was such a delicate balance
Yeah.
that um it definitely formed some deep cracks.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're in a better spot now because we're able to devote the time to it and start mending it.
Yeah.
Because God forbid when my father passes, it's going to be difficult if we don't mend it now.
And that's the point.
So
That's the whole point
yeah,
of this show is that
yeah,
you understand where you need to go. And I
yeah.
think I think your older sister does too. It sounds like
She's trying
she's
for
trying
the
to,
first time. I think in a long time she's trying.
and I think that's great,
Yeah,
man. Take it as a
yeah,
win. Put it in the
yeah.
W column.
Yeah. Like I almost sometimes don't know really, this is a huge history for me, but I think my younger sister and I don't really know how to navigate that as well because we're not used to that coming into play.
Yeah.
But I think sadly when things change and you start seeing the future or the sadly the your parents getting old and passing, it puts things in perspective sometimes and you realize what a waste of time that we, chose not to be in a family. But like I said, sometimes people don't want to be involved in that. And they
Yeah.
have, like I said, they have their role, right?
Right.
So yeah, we're just kind of redefining it right now.
I'm
So
so proud of all of you. I really am.
so
I've been able to witness that, and it's you're
you have for how many years now? Hang on. Were we like 16
40.
when we met?
Yeah, so it's 40.
15?
Yeah, it's over 40 years.
It's over 40 years. I mean, so
42,
you've
42 years.
we've both watched every dynamic in our families, our siblings, our
Yeah.
parents. We've been through it all.
Well, and I'm actually very grateful for that.
I am too.
With regard to, you know, the parental aspect of it, is it difficult to talk? I know it's difficult to talk to my dad about things that he perceives as an encroachment on his independence. And
Yes.
both our fathers live in independent living, right? So
Hmm.
my dad lived with us for a while and then he
Yeah.
needed to get away from me because I was driving him insane. Understood.
It's like I just want to be in my tie-dye vans and walk around and leave me alone.
Happy as pie, and thank God he's doing well. But even, he's about to turn 95, and even at 95, he's exceptionally sharp and exceptionally independent. And I just my neurotic self wants to make sure, are your finances in order? Should we go see the doctor? And, I'm trying
Yeah.
to, I'm also trying to save myself because my neurosis has been a
Yes.
very taxing thing on the people around me and my own nervous system.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it is when you navigate an elderly parent that you are tactically responsible for,
Yeah.
it's it's a very, very fine line between overstepping and respecting their independence.
It is. Especially when you try and you want to be that daughter, like you said, you want to be that friend, but then you may also be the executor of the estate. Like I know we are. And so, and that brings in a whole other ball game, right? And you want to be helping with their finances and it's you're taking over that parent role a little bit with your parent, but you still want to be their child.
Yeah.
That's where I am. I'm like, I'm still his daughter, his favorite daughter. I'm still his daughter.
No doubt.
I'm still I'm still his daughter, but then I'm trying to not cross the lines, and you're still trying to be the executor of the estate and get involved in the finances and learn he changes his passwords. And it crosses a lot of lines, and there is some resentment. He does get upset that, well, I don't need your help, or you don't need to do that. I'm only 90. I'm like,
Do you get pushback then?
I get pushback. I'm only 90. I'm like, what? Why do you
Just
need to be on
wait
my
till he
account?
says I'm only
Yeah.
95.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. We get these things and you think, well, God forbid something happens. Well, if it happens, then it'll go to, it's just all these things. There's pushback. There's pushback. And I know the pushback is because I think sometimes as parents, they're so used to being in charge of all of our finances and all of the house and the bills that sometimes they don't want us knowing what they're doing. It's not that it's
Yeah.
wrong. And I know my dad helps my siblings.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's things, my brother being handicapped and my sister
Sure.
having her issues. I
Absolutely.
know there's things there that as a parent, he may not want me to take on as a sibling.
Mm, of
So
course.
my dynamic's a little touchy, but we're learning. So I just keep saying when he's ready, and then I secretly take pictures of his passwords in
I
his
was
notebook
just going to
because he
say
keeps
you need to
changing them on me.
keep one eye open
I
because
do.
he is fully
He's
capable of managing that now. You
fully
just need to
capable.
make sure he doesn't manage himself out of
Yes.
his budget. It's just,
Yes. Yes. And I need to know what the budget is, which I know is hard. So we're taking baby steps, my younger sister, myself, to work into this of we're just doing this because we love you and we want you to enjoy your time here. I don't want this being a stressor, and I don't want your loved ones being stressed when you're gone.
right.
So we just want to make sure we're on top of it and move on. So we're trying. But my daddy's stubborn.
He is. He
He's very
is.
stubborn.
He's that's the
Typical Navy judge,
absolutely.
stubborn, talk about control issues and doesn't want us in his business, but loves us, but just doesn't know why we feel the need to at his age.
Yeah, and that's, I mean,
Like,
it's a good lesson because the reality is if we make it long,
yeah,
if we make
yeah,
it into that realm of the 80s and 90s, we're going to
yeah,
want that independence as well.
yes. Although it does, I don't know about you. So I want to know how you feel about this. I'm finding that it's making me want to purge my house, get rid of things because my kids don't want them
Oh
probably.
yeah,
As
absolutely.
I'm finding that I need to be aware of not only what we're doing with our finances, but what my husband, like what we have, like where everything is. And I'm being more open with our children of if this happens, I don't want to go through what I'm going through. I want you to know we're gonna make sure everything's out in the open because
Absolutely.
I want that to be
Oh, someone's
sorry,
at the
that's my
door.
front door going off. Um, I want everything to be open. I don't
Yeah,
want them to have to go through to it. I
that's
mean,
great.
yeah, I mean, but same thing. I mean, like, I mean, I know that, you and your husband, right? I mean, how do you guys talk about stuff? How do you talk about it with your siblings? Like, how do you have these conversations? Like, what are you doing?
Well, I am. So there's two aspects to that. With regard to my father, when my dad moved out here, it was
Mhm.
evident I'm responsible for him. But I
Yeah.
asked my siblings all along the way when we were opening up my dad's accounts, which
Yeah.
I'm now on. My dad wanted me to be on his checking account. I got him in with a wealth manager, And so I asked my siblings, is this okay? Because I want to preserve that relationship.
Right.
I don't want them to feel suspicious. Not that we've ever had that dynamic. Again, that's thank God
Yeah.
my mother fostered that with us. Um, so I don't think there's any resentment. Everybody was on board with me being on the account,
Okay.
overseeing his finances, and
Right.
that sort of thing. With regard to my husband and I am, I mean, as you know, I lost one of my closest friends, Elena,
Yes.
7 years ago.
That's what made me think of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so when I became her executor, it really made me think that we had to get our stuff in order. And although my husband wasn't really on board with it, it's just hard for people to talk about. We finally did it. We set up our legal documents. My
Right.
my oldest niece is my executor if my husband isn't around.
Good. Yeah.
And I say my husband is Tom. If Tom's not
Well, I
around,
wasn't, I know I didn't use names.
I
I
know.
guess we can use
Then
names. Okay.
my oldest niece, and she has all those documents. So
Okay.
the only thing I need to do now is what you're spending time doing is I got to purge this house because I don't want her to have to deal with that shit. I've cleaned out 5 houses in 7 years, and
Yes.
it is hard. It is emotionally draining. It's terrible. So
It is.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's wise. It's get your own financial things in order, make sure your executor is on board, make sure they have a copy of your documents, then
Yes.
clean out your fucking house.
Yeah. I'm working on a girl. Like I was going through, I found a box downstairs. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the kid stuff from kindergarten. Like
Exactly.
I kept all their artwork and all
Like,
these things, thinking
am
someday
I,
they're going to.
do I really need my glass holder? Something
Yeah.
really?
Now you
Even
do need
cheaper
that. That's
medium?
a must. I'm sorry. You do need that. Do I need I'm in my son's room. His little tiny, you know,
Do I need
Rubik's Cube.
that?
I don't know.
No, no. It's
But
just,
no, but you go downstairs. But for me, there's these emotional attachments when I look back at their lives, right? And so for me, it's hard because again, that's that dynamic in the family, right? My one sibling would not hang on to anything, and I'm like, oh my God, they painted that for me. I should really keep that because their children might want it someday in their room.
yeah.
Nobody wants anything, but those things I realize now. What, like I said, going through everything we've gone through, passing of our loved ones, siblings, mothers, father. I mean, like you realize it's just stuff.
It is just
You
stuff.
realize
It is.
our family is what matters. You realize you may not be able to change everybody, but you've got to know your role and respect it and try and find love along the way where you can have a common ground because it does make you sad when you feel like they're not around.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
then leave something better for at least for me, it's like leave something better for my kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to leave them a mess. I don't want to leave them a mess with finances, whatever else. And I certainly don't want my dad doing that to any of us or to himself.
Yeah.
But your dad's very open to it. My dad's a little more stubborn,
So
and I
far,
understand why.
just
But
keep that dialogue going.
yeah,
Keep,
we're working on it.
yeah, you're doing good. You're doing great.
Yeah,
He'll get
yeah,
there.
we're trying because
He'll get there.
so I'll just keep taking pictures.
Here's a funny thing, and I know, so
God.
my parents each had wills, and
Oh,
everything went to, yeah, they each had their own will. And
their
so
own will.
whoever the
Huh,
surviving
okay.
spouse was, and this is how it works. When you die, if your spouse survives you, everything goes to your spouse.
Right, right,
Once that person dies, if there's anything left, everything goes to the family.
right.
And my husband and I were doing our wills, and he has been raised, and I'm sure you were raised the right way. My parents made sure that each one of us, whatever surviving of their children, we each got an even amount. Tom's family, he's the exact same way. He wants his siblings to get an even amount, his nieces and nephews. And I'm like, no way. I said, there are some I like and some I don't. And so there's some folks who are going to get a lot, and there's some folks who are not going to get jack shit.
I have a box for
Like,
them. I've been
oh my
keeping
God.
a box for them with their name on it. They're gonna get that box from me when I'm gone.
I'm over exaggerating, but it was just so funny. I've never seen it that way. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, that seems kind of silly. I don't, why? Why is somebody I barely talk to? Why would they get part of my estate? And
Oh my
so,
God, that's
and
awesome.
it's
That is like so. No, it's so true. You're like, I don't want the
what?
fucker having that. Like, what?
Hey, what? What?
What? I don't
Hey,
need them.
I'll give
Yeah,
them, I'll give them my
yeah.
kazoo.
because
You have my glass holder.
you're gonna get the little Rubik's cube.
Absolutely.
Um,
It
whereas
was,
my kids, I'm like, we may not have anything. I don't know what we're
that's
gonna.
my
I
goal.
mean, we, I didn't work for so long, right? I stayed home, took care of the kids, quit my job, stayed home. I mean, so ours might be a little more realistic of like, you might want some of the stuff in our house because that might be all you're getting.
We were there.
Sorry.
When you do your wills, if you go to an estate attorney, they make you fill out a worksheet. So Tom had a worksheet and I had a worksheet
Oh God,
about
really?
how to deal with our
My
separate.
dad did our will. Yeah.
Well, so my worksheet, it's like, well, here's what I have. And yeah, I want this amount to go to this person and not so much to go to this person and all this jazz. And Tom looks at it and the lawyer looks at it and they're like, no,
No,
no, Bridget, this will just
this is
break
mean
up your family. I'm
spirited,
like,
Bridget.
nobody's going to break up my family. I'm going to be dead. What do I care?
like, I, this is my list. This is my ho ho ho,
Right,
nice and
exactly.
naughty.
Oh, so yeah, no, everybody gets the same amount. Everybody gets the same amount.
Everybody gets a trophy.
Everybody gets
Everybody gets a
a
trophy.
trophy. Everybody gets my trophy.
I'm like, and again, we told our kids, I don't know, you know, you're gonna get whatever's left
Exactly.
because we're gonna be working for probably the rest of our lives. So, eh, you're gonna get whatever's left.
I thought that was so, I'm such a bitch. I
Well, I
gotta,
haven't even. That's a good thing because we need to redo our will. As a matter of fact, and my dad's. So my mom and dad, same thing. They had their will together. Chuck and I have our will together.
right.
And whoever gets the kids, which is you, and then his brother and I think his sister. But we should redo our will as well. And
I mean, honestly, there's another bit of advice
yeah,
for today. It's
yeah,
just A, get one
yeah.
done.
We need to get
They're
done.
very cheap to get done. You can even get them on the internet. Don't
Yeah,
worry. I'll put
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
put resources in the
yeah.
box down below.
Yeah. They're
So
so easy to do. And it can
so
be
easy
like,
to do
yeah,
yourself.
so easy. Like even
And
ours, which I know is bad, it was done so long ago, but it's like any other children we have are included, in
yeah.
our will because at the time, it's like you don't know. So yeah.
Well, and
So
here's probably a good thing to end the show with because we're coming to the end of our time.
we are.
Yeah, I know. So, with the family dynamic element, I was also very fortunate because even before someone dies, if your loved one is in a coma or a critical crisis medical situation, it can get really dicey if you guys have not talked, you and your
Very
siblings
dicey.
have not talked ahead of time about
Yes.
how to handle that person's wishes.
Yes. Yes.
It
Yes.
we luckily my parents talked to all of us about what they wanted and we knew how to execute on that. Doesn't mean it
Hmm.
was easy,
Hmm.
but 99.9% of families don't talk about that. And I know
They
that
don't.
also can ruin families. If one person,
Yes.
you know that the person who's sick wants to pass away and wants no extra life-saving stuff. They're ready to go. But if a sibling hasn't gotten there yet, and they're
Yes.
just grieving and they're like, nope,
Right.
I won't sign off on it. Don't you dare do it. It can be awful.
You know what? Well, and we can talk more about this later, but over the summer, as you know, with my brother, we were in that position where it wasn't discussed with us, so my younger brother, but the wishes were different of his wife
Yeah.
and of him as well.
Yeah.
So that's also your dynamic is when your siblings and their spouse and their family are having conversations of their wishes, which are different than our wishes,
Right.
right? And that's a hard thing to navigate,
Yeah.
and I mean, thank goodness, he did not pass away. But we had a meeting because, even the doctors felt he was going to be passing. And so that was a really tricky, but it was eye opening. And it was a really eye opening experience of how to have that conversation with your spouse, with your loved one and their spouse, on top of your loved one, who's your sibling and our family.
Right. And
It was different dynamic.
you guys, I hear, that there was
Yeah.
a lot of really good It was hard, but it was very good
It was
communication that
very
took
difficult,
place
but it
between
was
you and
good.
your sister-in-law. And that's
Yeah.
good. I was really happy that you
I
guys,
think we all came together and we were all in the room with the doctors and we all came together for my brother. And when my brother spoke up, everybody listened. And I think that's what was important was he was the one that spoke to not only his spouse, but to his siblings and his parent and to the doctors, but he was the one that had the final word. And it was eye-opening for all of us on how to handle it.
yeah, and that's
It was,
really
yeah.
I think that's a
Yeah.
good place to leave off is
Yeah.
and let people you love know exactly what you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you
And
are not,
fortunately, we had time for him to do it because had he, we didn't think we were going to have time. So yeah. Yeah.
it's yeah, I just think that's good advice. And if you're not there, a lot of us, there are so many human beings who can't
Yes.
even think about their own death. And I get that. I'll put a
Yeah.
couple of books in the notes
Oh, yes.
below that help with that because it's inevitable. And we've talked about it time and
Right.
again on the show that, we can save each other, ourselves, each other, and our families a lot of stress by just starting the conversation.
And I'll put that one in there too that I told you I've been reading, that one called Let Them, which
Oh
is
yeah.
not always the perfect thing in those situations, but sometimes it's helping me see a little more clearly of I may not agree with this, but I have to let them because it's a process and I want to be a part of this process and I want to learn from it. So we've got to let each other do things so we can come together. So I am learning on
Please,
that. So
we're going to put that in the notes.
yeah,
I've heard
yeah,
a lot about
yeah,
that book. That's
yeah,
wonderful. Well,
yeah.
I have to say that it's just a delight to spend time with you, Sue,
It's
because
a delight to spend time with you. I miss you.
I miss you and I love you and you're the best Bellini ever.
You're the best BFE ever. You're the best Bellini ever.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's
All
why I
right.
have the Golden Gate Bridge behind me.
Here in the grass, I say,
Here in the
scratch.
grass, here on the bridge. Well, I'm not on the bridge. It'd be bad. I'm on the by the water.
Yeah, you're on the, actually, technically, you're on the Marin Headlands. That's
Oh,
that picture was taken. It's awesome. We'll go there
if
the
we're
next
being
time you come out.
okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Bellini's people, thanks for watching. We love you. Stay cool. And no matter what, remember, you're going to be okay.
You're gonna be okay.
See you later, Gator.
Later.